Hello, everybody. Um, so I said I would do a deck profile on my build that topped. I got 5th. When I went to X1, there were 5 other X1s, and I think and 1 XO. I mean, it's just tiebreakers that determine. I could have been 2nd through 6th, but it's just tiebreakers that choose your place. But I got 5th. My loss was 2 Infernities. We went into time and I opened a double Maxi and no Lindy, no Sphere. And he opened an Armageddon Knight and nothing else. I opened like double Maxi and double Space. Like a horrible hand when he doesn't go off. And he didn't go off, so I didn't draw it. It's like a horrible hand in time. So I couldn't do anything. He just attacked like twice with an Armageddon Knight, and then we were done. We were in turns, actually. We just went to game 3 in turns, basically. So it was a loss, but I don't know that it really counts. So here's the deck. The title, 3 Tias, 2 Megalo, 1 lead, triple Lindy, triple Pike, double Turge for the smallers, Osha, Gundi, Dragoons, triple Marksman, 1 Infantry, double Spirit, and the tech of the weekend was a Gores. Did absolutely nothing for me. Well, I mean, I only lost once, and you're only ever going to play Gores when you're way behind in this deck, so this should come out. Spells, triple MST, 1 book, 1 salvage. This book, me and Mario Ramos, we were playing the same deck. His was a bottomless trap hole instead of a bottomless, but I think bottomless is better. I mean, it's chainable and you can play it when you don't go first. 2 breakthrough skill, 3 sphere, 1 squall. I really want to play more squalls, but they can lead to bad hand, and at regionals it's all about consistency, especially when you have to play 10 rounds. So it's like it's risky playing 2, at least with this build. 2 Mirror Force, 1 Torrential, and a Solemn. That's the main deck. The only thing I'd really change in it is the Gores. Everything else is, I'd say, near perfect, at least for how that build's made. Side deck, 3 Maxi, 1 Crow, that's for Geargias and like Erratics. Double Snowman for Bujin, not really Bujins, but like Evil Swarm mainly. And Fire Fist. Zombie World, 2 of them for Bujin, spellbooks, all that stuff. 2 Debunk, 2 Wrath for Geargias and other stuff. Catastrophe, Dust, and a Needle Sealing for the Mirror and Geargias. A Leviair extra deck, Mech Whip, Trite, Alucard. I played Double Dweller. I never went into Double Dweller with this build. It was kind of just a want. Should have been a Cowboy, but I couldn't find my Cowboy, so I think with this build you should play a Cowboy instead of a Dweller. 4s, Lavalval Chain, Honors, Excidion, Bahamut. I borrowed someone's Crazy Box, so this was a Crazy Box. I'm playing this because I was playing a Dyne instead of the Gores, and this is for Ophion. 7s, 2 Dracosac, a Big Eye, and a Gaios. My matchups, I played, first round was Bujins. I played, I think he was pretty new. I don't think he had played against Marmels. He said he played against Marmels once before. So he didn't really know what he was doing. I lost game 2 versus him because he went a Susano, and I had made a board, and then he just cleared the board with the Susano and craned the Dracosac. So that was unfortunate, and I was pretty far behind. I think I lost game 2 and went to game 3, and this was like, I just started playing the deck in like person, and so I made the mistake of trying to keep board advantage by putting I'd already gone through like my 7s because I opened up pretty good. He got rid of them somehow, but I wanted to keep pressure on So I activated a sphere and just did the Lindy in the main phase 2 and just got a Lindy, destroyed it, got a Turge to add the Goondi back to my hand, but I didn't actually have a hand. I just added the Goondi back. So then it put me in a really bad spot when he dealt with that board, because the Turge really didn't do, it's 17 compared to Yamato's 18, so it doesn't really do anything for me. I had another monster on the board, but it was like a inconsequential, like, I don't know what it was. So then that put me in a bad spot because I didn't have anything, but then I top decked a Tias, and then that let me win the game. I mean, I really should have had the game regardless. If I'd known what I was doing at the turn before that, you could just use the sphere too. I could have used the sphere just to go into another rank 7, but I didn't do that. Or I mean, I could have waited on his main phase and not activated on my turn, just go into a 7, and I could have made a play with just 2 rank 7s, because I think I had a title in the grave. But then I used the sphere instead the other way, which was the wrong play. I realized that after, and I should have won for sure. But then I just won because I drew a TS anyways, but it was a wrong play. Round 2 was Bujin's. The first guy wasn't playing Coliseum. The second guy was, and he just sat on his Coliseum, and he just kept sending stuff. The first guy, I think, was the only guy that I went to 3. Oh, besides the Bujin guy, besides the Infernity guy, he was the only one I went to 3 rounds with. Everyone else, I think I 2-0'd. So the Bujin guy, he stalled on Coliseum, but it didn't actually matter, because he was just sitting there. I had back row. I think he had back row, and then we were just sitting there because I couldn't do anything. I had a face down Lindy, and eventually I drew into the heavy infantry. So then I just attacked on my main phase. I had a set Lindy there, and he didn't want to attack it because then it would have given me the option to get rid of my infantry. So then eventually I just attack his Yamato, I have a Turge and infantry in hand, I bring out a lead, attack him again. I know he has crane, so he drops the crane. This is like 6 turns in, he sent like everything. So then he drops the crane, and then I just summon a Turge and discard the infantry to target the deal, and add something back. The Lindy probably. And it was like, they can sit there and take at least the guys that I played. Like, it didn't, the Bujin sending stuff, it didn't really matter. At least game 1 it didn't. Game 2, I catastrophed him for 3 cards, and he sent everything again, like we just sat there while he Colosseum'd. But then, I mean, I opened a Zombie World, and I held it the whole time while he was just cycling, until I eventually catastrophed him. And he was down to like 2 or 3 cards in hand after I grinded through. Then I just played the Zombie World, and he just looked at his friend. He said, "What's that card?" And his friend said, "That's the card you lose to." And it was just like, well, then I just ran over his Yamato, and he couldn't do anything unless he could get rid of the Zombie World. I mean, they're dead. So then I just played a bunch of, random. I played like one of everything. I played a Girgia. I played a Harpy. I played a Spellbook guy that wasn't very good. I played my final round was versus Girgias. I didn't play any Dragon Rulers or Evil Swarm. That was the big thing. I played a TG Skill Drain. It was like the caliber of players there wasn't either the deck's really good or the caliber of players was really bad. And I mean, the players that I played were making mistakes. I played a Constellar guy, and he basically let me go into an Excidion. He hadn't been playing for a while, and he didn't know Excidion existed, so I had 2 level 4s. I only had 1 play. I almost scooped to him because it was such an obvious play. But then I just did it, just to see if he'd know. And so I did it. I went Excidion. He tried to bounce with Pleiades, and then he had no cards in hand. And I was almost dead. So I just did it, and then of course I can just chain to his Pleiades, and it blows everything up. And then he didn't draw monsters, so then I was able to get back into it. Combos in the deck. The best hand that you can open with. So just so you know, if you see the play, you'll know they open the best hand, or if you play the deck. Your best hand is going to be Dragoons, Megalo, double TS, a marksman, and then you need to have a Gundi. You can have a Gundi or a Osha. You'll search the other piece. So if they have Valor, if they open a Valor, you're better off with the Gundi, because then you can't search the Gundi off the TS. So you'll have one of these two. We'll just say it's Gundi, because then that's obviously the better hand. What you'll do is you'll go TS, discard Dragoons, and then you'll search I search a lead here. I mean, you know it's good when you can search a lead with Dragoons. I mean, when would you ever do that? And then you'll search the Osha. Then you'll go lead, not lead. You'll discard the lead and the Gundi or the Megalo. And then you'll search this sphere, and Gundi will get you the lead. Then you'll normal the Osha. You'll send one. Doesn't matter which one. Well, you have to overlay first, I think. And you'll go into the Gaios. You'll send one. Well, I mean, you'll summon first, but it's going to be sent. Bring out a Lindy, and you already have the Gundi, so 2 Lindys, I suppose. I mean, I was playing a Dine, so so if you're playing the Dine, then you would bring the Dine out instead of this, or whatever other level 3 you're playing. And then you'll get the Equip. So that's the best opening field. You can do this ending on a there's where you open Aqua Spirit. You can end on a Lavalval Chain Equip Gaios, but I'd rather have the Lindy instead of the Lavalval Chain. But you'll open the Lavalval Chain one more often, I think, than you will this one, because you have to have it's like the perfect hand. Because then you'll set the sphere. Then on their turn, I mean, they're not going to be able to do anything, probably. I mean, if they Dark Hole, you'll save this, summon something. But probably they won't be able to do anything. They're just going to set back row, so then you can sphere, and then you have the marksman. So you can just sphere into your other Lindy, and that's going to go, and then you'll get a Turge. So this is their turn 1. You'll get a Turge. And they're going to have to set marksman. They're going to have to set back row. That's the only way. And then you just discard the marksman, add the Gundi, and then you'll pop a back row for free. And then you have the combo pieces again for another rank 7. You'll have a TS and a Gundi. So that's the best hand that you can have, the best opening, in my opinion. The deck's just really consistent. It can play against, if you don't lose to an OTK versus Geargias, I think you should win. Marksman is really, really good versus that match. I didn't see, one of the reasons why I topped was I didn't play any hard counters like Evil Swarm. And I didn't see a single DeFi, Macro, or Soul Drain. I mean, that's what happens when they're all limited. And, I mean, a lot of the decks are playing, stuff that relies on the graveyard. Like, Bujins aren't going to be able to side it. Your TG Skill Drain can't side it. I mean, they can, but it would hurt them too. I mean, a lot of things are playing graveyard reliant. It's just Geargias. Geargias can play them all. But the 3 MST in the main helped a lot. And the sided Dust, sided Catastrophe were all good. So that's the deck. I'll probably be playing this for a while. It just seems so consistent, so good. So, I think I showed you everything. Yeah, that's about it. The TS into Equip Lindy play is also one of the main ones that you do when you open a slow hand, where you'll just search this off the TS. And you just go Equip Lindy. Other notables, The Torrential's really good. I ended on Trite Lindy a lot. It actually came out quite a bit, having a Lindy on the field and an Abyss Trite, and then it makes the Torrential really, really good. I never made a Crazy Box. I only made Leviair. I don't know that I ever made a Leviair in the tournament. Right after at Locals, I made a Leviair for a Dweller with a Alucard, really good, versus Geargias. That helped me win my last match against Geargias for the top. The Dracossack at 2. I went Dracossack 2 one time, I think. And I never made Dweller twice. I only made Dweller. I made Dweller, but I only made it once per game. Excidion, I think I only went into it twice. Honors is really good. I think I went into it twice. Level Chain. I didn't go into Level Chain enough. I think I should force it out more just to get the title in the grave. Yeah. So that's the deck. Let me know what you guys think. Try it out. I think it's easily tier 1. I guess Mermails had the most tops at YCS Mexico. I mean, that's what I heard. I would believe it. I think my matchups were just really easy. I think this deck just steamrolls the other ones. Its consistency and the free pluses that you get off Marksman and Infantry with Pike and Turge, and the ability to push through back row with Lindy and monsters with Lindy. It's just like free pluses. So it does take skill. That's why I think a lot of people lose with Mermails. And because you have to see the plays, you have to understand timings. Like I made a play with it was a Megalo. Megalo discarding a Marksman and a Gundi. This was like this was against my second Bujin guy. So discard Megalo or summon Megalo with these two, and then I made Marksman's mandatory, so it's gonna be Chainlink 1, and then I made Gundi Chainlink 2, Megalo Chainlink 3, and so the guy he had one face down, and then he was like considering things in his head, so I just figured it was a Torrential, so I wasn't gonna say anything, but he didn't Torrential here. He waited until I think I summoned a lead off the Gundi, and then he tried to flip Torrential, but he can't do it because Marksman still has to resolve. So if you don't know stuff like that, or you don't know how to make your chains like advantageous for you, you could have a really hard time with this deck. You have to have a pretty solid understanding of game mechanics, how chains form. I mean, you have to, the deck, if you make a misplay, you'll be in a really hard spot. You can be in a hard spot. If you mess up, you miss a search, you summon the wrong thing. But it's really rewarding if you make the right plays. So, on Sunday I went to our Locals, and then I went 3-0 with the same deck, I think. So, you're welcome to try it out, and I'll talk to you guys next time. I'll see you around. Bye.